Configuring emergency mode to be activated by a dashboard widget. Step 1. Configure the emergency behavior in all reader profiles to drive their relays during emergency mode. This can be done under Setup, Hardware, Reader Profiles. Edit your reader profile. Click on the Behavior tab and click on the Edit Behavior button. Search for Emergency and edit emergency. Click on Output States tab and edit your relay contact state by clicking on the Edit button. Set the relay contact state to drive relay in this mode and click on the Save button. Repeat this action on all reader profiles containing readers to be triggered in emergency mode. Step 2. Set up a dashboard widget to trigger emergency mode. This can be done under Dashboard and under Activity. Click on the plus button and select your widget by clicking on the selector arrow. Select the Commands widget and select one parameter. We are going to select the site and click on the Save button. Click on the Save button again. By clicking on the green lock, you can trigger emergency mode. If you click on the green lock again, you will disable emergency. Setting up emergency mode on multiple controllers. Step 1. Configure controller actions. This can be done under Setup, Hardware, Controller Profiles. Edit your controller profile and click on the Actions tab. Click on the Add Action button and give your action a name. We are going to call the first action Emergency On. Click on your selector arrow to select your type, and we are going to select Emergency Mode. We're going to make sure Emergency Mode is enabled under Emergency Mode On Action and click on the Save button. Click on the back arrow and click on the Actions tab again to add your second action. Click on the Add Action button, and the name we're going to give our second action is going to be Emergency Off. Click on the selector arrow to select your type and select Emergency Mode. Make sure your emergency mode is disabled under the Emergency Off action and click on the Save button. Step 2. Add an input to trigger emergency mode. This can be done under Setup, Hardware, Reader Profiles. We're going to use your IO8 device, so we're going to use the Input-Output Reader Profile. So edit your Input-Output Reader Profile and click on the Inputs tab. Click on the Add Input button and give your input a name. Click on the selector arrow to select your type, and we're going to select Emergency Assigned to All and click on the Save button. Step 3. Configure the output states of the emergency behavior on the required reader profiles. Remember, the output states is what must happen to the reader's relay and LED during emergency mode. So click on the back arrow and click on the back arrow again and edit your required reader profiles. Click on the Behavior tab, click on the Edit Behavior button, look for Emergency and edit Emergency. Click on the Output States tab and edit your relay contact state. Change your relay contact state to drive the relay in this mode and click on the Save button. Go back to the Reader Profile screen and repeat this process on all reader profiles where you want to activate emergency mode on the readers. Step 4. Link the events to activate or deactivate emergency mode to the controller actions created in Step 1. This can be done in the reader screen, so navigate to the reader screen, which is under Setup, Hardware, Readers, and select the appropriate reader by clicking on the Edit button. Click on the Actions tab, click on the Event Actions button, and click on the selector arrow to select your event. The event we're looking for is Input Emergency Mode On. We are now going to link the controller profile action Emergency On that we created previously. So tick Emergency On APC 1 and Emergency On APC 2. We now want to link the Input Emergency Mode Off event to the controller profile actions Emergency Off that we created in the previous step. So click on the selector arrow for Event and select Input Emergency Mode Off. Search for your Emergency Off action and tick Emergency Off on APC 1 and APC 2. Setting up emergency mode on a single controller. Step 1. Edit the output states of the emergency behavior on all reader profiles containing readers to be triggered during emergency mode. This can be done under Setup, Hardware, Reader Profiles. Edit your reader profile. Click on the Behavior tab. Click on the Edit Behavior button and select Emergency. Edit Emergency and click on Output States tab. The output states refer to what must happen to the reader's relay and LED. So we are going to edit the relay contact state to be driven during emergency mode and click on the Save button. Now we will navigate back to the reader profile screen and you will repeat this process on any other required reader profiles. Step 2. Add an input on the reader profile containing the reader you are going to use to trigger emergency mode. We are going to use the IO8 device, which can be found under the Input-Output Reader profile. So edit the Input-Output Reader profile. Click on the Inputs tab and click on the Add Input button. Give your input a name and click on the selector arrow to select the type. We are going to select Emergency Assigned to All. Below, you can select whether you want to execute emergency on an open or closed contact, as well as the port or input number to be used. Remember to click on the Save button. Configuring emergency mode to be activated by a special tag. Step 1. Configure emergency mode in all reader profiles to drive their relays during emergency mode. This can be done under Setup, Hardware, Reader Profiles. Edit your reader profiles and click on the Behavior tab. Click on the Edit Behavior button and search for Emergency. Edit Emergency and click on the Output States tab. Edit your relay contact state and set your relay contact state to drive the relay in this mode. Click on the Save button. Repeat this process for all applicable reader profiles. Step 2. Enroll your tag, which will be used to trigger emergency mode. This can be done under Enrollment, Types, Tag Holders. Click on the plus button to add your tag holder and enter the compulsory fields. Click on the Save button and click on the Tags tab. Click on the Add Tag button. Click on Enrollment Wizard and place your tag on your MDE. Click on Enroll Card. Select MDE. You can add this process as a favorite by clicking on Yes. And change your tag status to Special Event 1. Special Event 1 is the event we're going to configure to activate or deactivate emergency mode. And then click on the Save button. Click on the Back button. If you are using anti-passback, remember to tick anti-passback override, which can be found under the Advanced tab. Step 3. Create 2 actions on your controller profile. This can be done under Setup, Hardware, Controller Profiles. Click on the Edit button of your controller profile and click on the Actions tab. The first action we're going to add is Emergency On to enable emergency mode. Click on the Add Action button and give your action a name. Click on the selector arrow to select the type and select emergency mode. Make sure Enable is selected under emergency mode and click on the Save button. Click on the back arrow and click on the Actions tab to add your second action. Click on the Add Action button and give your action a name. Click on your selector arrow to select the type and select emergency mode. Select Disable under emergency mode and click on the Save button. Step 4. Now we are going to select 2 readers, one to enable emergency mode and one to disable emergency mode. This can be done under Setup, Hardware, Readers, and we're going to select Reception Out. Click on the Actions tab and click on Event Actions. Click on the selector arrow and the event we're looking for is Allowed Special 1 Out. We want to link it to the controller profile action that we created in step 3, Emergency On. And we tick the Emergency On action on APC 1 and APC 2. Now we click on the back arrow. And we click on the back arrow again. And we edit your reception in Reader. Click on the Actions tab, click on Event Actions, and click on the selector arrow. The event we're looking for is Allowed Special 1 In. And we're searching for the action Emergency Off. We're going to tick Emergency Off on APC 1 and Emergency Off on APC 2. So when we badge this emergency tag on the Reception Out reader, this will trigger emergency mode. While when we badge this emergency tag on the Reception In reader, this will disable emergency mode.